What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about the data points, what they're currently saying, and potentially from here, where it might be going next week. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So when it came down to Lucid's recent earnings, it really and truly did knock it down a whole massive notch. And because it is now below that 50-day moving average, and Lucid has always really struggled with that 50-day moving average. So you can even see over the last week per se, it attempted roughly about 3 or 4 times and did bounce off of it every single time, including on Friday. Even though Friday had a lot of good momentum, was up 4.81%, did have a high of $9.10, but unfortunately it did go back down and settle below that 50-day moving average. So just be aware that that's something to kind of know going into next week, because as far as next week, there's a lot of different things that most likely will cause a lot of fluctuation within the broader economy. So not only is Powell speaking multiple different times, which of course is a little bit more of a Russian roulette, could be very positive or very negative, because on March the 22nd, the Feds are going to be making their decision on interest rates. Obviously, I think the consensus right now is going to be 50 basis points, and if so, then the market might go in a little bit more of a panic mode once again. But it is going to be very much linking to consumers this week for data points, starting off with Wednesday. So ADP non-farm employment change. Currently, the forecast is 195,000. So if it is a lot lower than that, then anticipate, once again, a little bit more of a ripple across the economy and people panic. So again, just be aware of that. Then on Thursday is initial jobless claims. So with Powell speaking, I think that's going to be one very big indicator that a lot of people are watching. And similar to on Friday, there is non-farm payroll. So I think a lot of consumer data is coming out this week. And of course, Lucid, with their whole demand potential problem that's out there because people don't want to spend too much, for instance, for the Air Grand Touring, it's going to be a lot of people just over-analyzing this data. So again, if it's positive, this data is positive, then potentially it can easily break past into this kind of range right here. If not, then most likely it will continue below in here in this range. So just be aware of that behind the scenes. And as well, on March the 3rd, so Friday after hours, I do believe, Lucid did submit their new Schedule 14A, their preliminary 14A. So as far as the upcoming shareholder meeting, I believe it is on April 24th, 2023. There's 6 things for people to vote on. I'm going to do a dedicated video to this exact thing and basically what to expect from it. But outside of those 2 things, there might be some analysts that do trickle in, similar to what happened with Citi. So roughly about 3 days ago, so mid last week, didn't really fall in line with the earnings, because of course we got roughly about, I think it's 6 different analysts or 7 different analysts after the earnings giving rating updates, and Citi kind of fell in a little bit late to the game, but they gave $11.50 as far as a price target. Clearly some people do value that, and in reality I think that's pretty good. The average price target right now is $9.64, which represents roughly about an 8% upside. So this is where people are kind of very skeptical about Lucid, but in my opinion, I do feel that a lot of these price targets are very much conservative. But on a side note, if you do want to look at a lot of analyst ratings and various other data such as this, click on the link in the description below or the comments, open up an account with Interactive Brokers, free to do so, and you get a lot of things such as tip ranks, which of course you do have to pay for outside of Interactive Brokers. So might as well get it for free, no harm, no foul. But when it comes down to it, I'll talk on what the data points did say basically from Friday. So as you can see, this is all the options activity that did happen on Friday. Similar kind of action has been happening the last couple days as well. But there is a lot of call options being purchased, as you can see, the big green candles right here. And this alone is $223,000 just in call premium. So I think in general, there is a lot of people anticipating Lucid to go up, because based on the technicals, if it can actually successfully get past that 50-day moving average, then it is going to be wedge bound between that and the 100-day moving average. So I think in general, this is where people are kind of hedging their bets towards. And as far as what has been happening on, for instance, the dark pool, there's only been one fairly large transaction, so 1.1 million. Outside of that, it's been very quiet, but of course Fridays are typically Friday and very quiet. And as far as the secondary market, this is where things get interesting. The number of transactions are reduced, but you do see some pretty big ones. And keep in mind, on the secondary market, this is what typical retail investors do trade on, which usually institutions don't. They don't normally do 7.27 million as far as a transaction, or 2.53. So clearly someone behind the scenes is very much buying Lucid up and obviously taking advantage of the discounted price. And I just wanted to talk on shorts because I think that might be something that comes into play a little bit. Short score is 83, utilization is 100%. And as far as what shorts did on Friday, they in fact returned 3.12 million shares. Still though, 21.38% of the free float is in fact being shorted. 138.81 million shares still being shorted. Cost to borrow really just dropped, so 14.58. And once again, you do see that indication of, I guess, manipulation behind the scenes. So there is a broker out there physically charging someone 0.35% to short Lucid. So behind the scenes, that is happening. So there's obviously a broker out there really incentivizing shorting of Lucid to occur, but it is what it is. I don't think that's anything new. And as far as what two specific indicators are showing, momentum number retail investors have been getting back in, which of course is a very positive sign. And stochastic is at 18, no defined trend as of right now, but 18 is extremely oversold, which potentially, if some of this economic data that does come out is very, very positive, then this is where you're going to get a little bit more of a value rally and also a push above that 50-day moving average. So I think in general this week, there is a good likelihood of it kind of being in this range right here, unless, like I said, the data is very much negative. But in my opinion, I think Lucid does and will offer a lot of good positive stuff the coming weeks. Most likely as well, they're going to be unleashing the gravity reservations as well. So that's something you need to factor in when they do actually come out with some PR about that. And when they actually do open up the reservations, the stock price will go up a lot based on that. But keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below, though. Hope you are all having an amazing weekend thus far. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. And with all that said, appreciate you guys watching.